Well, good evening, everybody. It is Wednesday night, February 2nd. It's about 8 o'clock. We just wrapped up our midweek youth service, C3YM. And tonight, our high schoolers were introduced to Purity Month, talking specifically about purity of the soul. In the coming weeks, we'll talk about purity of the body, purity of the mind, and purity of the heart. But tonight, we talked about purity of the soul. And here to talk a little bit about what happened tonight, we have a couple of wonderful guests. As you can see, we have Crystal. Yeah. And we have Erin.
Yeah.
Ladies, thank you for joining us on this week's video blog.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, sure. Talk a little bit about what we did tonight in our main event time.
Okay. Like Tom said, we learned about the purity of our soul, and there was a quote by C.S. Lewis. You don't have a soul, you are a soul. You have a body. That was great. And Crystal, would you like to add something?
There's a lot of quotes and scriptures from the Bible saying if there were no rules, then we wouldn't have to follow anything and we would sin all the time. And yes, I like that quote. And yes.
Okay. And now tonight we started off a little different than we usually do. Talk a little bit about the opening time after worship.
Okay. Our opening time's pretty much just talking about our week. You know, we all came in today and it was heavy. Tom could tell, everybody could tell, we were just all heavy and down and out. So we just talked about our weeks and said what was bad and just vented, I guess. Very emotional.
It was emotional, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the good thing is, God knows about us being emotional because that's how He made us. And God Himself is emotional. So what we did was to piggyback on what you were saying, we talked a little bit about that and allowed the students to share a little bit about the heaviness in their lives. And then we read from 1 Peter, where he gives us very clear and very good instructions about one of God's promises. And the promise that if we would surrender and humble ourselves and cast our cares upon Him, then He would lift us up in due time. And His promise is that He would care for us, and He loves us. And so we counted on that, we talked about that, and of course we prayed that for each other. We're glad that these girls were here tonight. It was very difficult to get anyone else to volunteer to read a verse, which is always pretty cool because these girls have their Bibles and they always know where to find stuff. It doesn't take forever. But aside from that, I felt like tonight, even though it wasn't spectacular, I mean, have a light show, that I really feel like God was doing something on a real basic level. And in addition to the opening time where we just sort of shared our hearts, I think He was really talking to us about not trying to separate all the different aspects of us as human beings, but to really look at ourselves as a soul, a genuine one piece takes all. And we shouldn't be separating what we do apart from what we think, and we shouldn't be separating that from who we are in God. So hopefully that will launch us into the rest of the time that we spend together during Purity Month in February. Which, as you already heard me talk about, we have purity of mind, purity of heart, and purity of the body coming up in February. The middle schoolers who aren't here tonight to share, they've been sharing a lot during camera time. But tonight they did one of their last leadership exercises. They did something that I call blindfolds. And from what I understand, they went really, really well. And we had a new leader step up and have to take care of that, Miss Hannah. So we're glad for her, and we'll get a report from her maybe at a different date. But for now, I just want to give you a quick reminder. The ski retreat is coming up February 18th. We need to make sure they're there at 10 o'clock here at the church, 10 o'clock. If you're interested in helping out at the daddy-daughter dance or the father-daughter banquet, whatever we're calling it, that's February 11th. That's a Friday. It starts at 7 and ends at 9. So if you're interested in coming to that, participating, it's $20 per couple. Or if you just want to come and volunteer to help out, that's fine too. We're taking care of the church all day long on Friday, and it'll probably take us a good hour or two to clean back up and put the chairs back here in the sanctuary. So if you're interested in helping, please make sure you're here by then and give me a call or Facebook me. We'd love to have that. Lastly, in March, I want to make sure that all the parents especially know, March 6th, here at the church, following second service, we'll be having lunch together, parents and pastors and youth workers and teenagers. It'll be our spring pastor-parent meeting. So please be there for that from 1 to 2:30, Sunday, March 6th. Thank you very much and have a great night.